Adri, আমরা live.
Okay, ma'am.
Holistic, value-based, experiential. Learning is always comprehensive at SMU. Located at Newtown, Rajarhat, Kolkata, SMU lies close to the new corporate hub of the city. Established through the enactment of the Sister Nivedita University Act 2017, SMU is deeply inspired by the thoughts and teachings of Swami Vivekananda and Sister Nivedita. Housing an environment of inclusiveness, the university promises to provide education to all without any bias based on class, social status, creed, religion, or gender. The SNU campus boasts of a well-designed, ergonomical infrastructure with educational facilities par global standards. SNU also provides students with accommodation facilities that harbor an interactive, healthy, hygienic, and academic-oriented environment. Moreover, healthy, home-cooked food items are served in the cafeteria.
एट एसएनयू का फूड कोर्ट हम लोग खोले हैं। यहाँ पर हम लोग इंडियन, चाइनीज, बंगाली और भी डिशेज रखने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं और फूड क्वालिटी में कोई कॉम्प्रोमाइज हम लोग नहीं करते हैं।
In-house buses with well-coordinated routes covering all parts of the city provide a smooth, safe and convenient transport service.
In addition to providing playground, indoor games facilities, we have set up yoga center here. We have an agreement with the Korean organization, a special type of martial art, Taekwondo.
At SMU, it has been a life-changing experience for me.
At SMU, I believe I made the right decision to join this organization.
At SMU, I have started becoming a good human, discovering new ideas and innovation, which comes along with creativity and excellence. I have started enjoying my life at SMU, and I hope you will enjoy it here too.
Good evening and welcome to the most awaited session with none other than Celebrity Master Chef Ranveer Brar. Today we find out interesting facets of the profession from the Master Chef himself, career scopes in hospitality and much more. We will take you through his journey as well, and I'm sure this will be a very interesting, truly international session. I will request the participants to kindly mute your microphones during the session, but you can keep your videos on. We will also be taking questions, so kindly drop your questions in the drop box, and we will try to answer as many questions as possible. Once again, welcome to the session, and without further ado, let's dive right in it. I will request Mr. Joyinto Ghosh of Techno India IHM under Sister Nivedita University to please take it from here. Sir,
yeah, thank you, madam. Thank you. So good evening, dear students, respected professors, dear colleagues, teammates, and Master Chef Ranveer Brar. So we would like to welcome you, our mentor, Our brand ambassador of Techno India IHM, Master Chef Ranveer Brar, a television celebrity, Master Chef Judge, Master India Judge, author, restaurator, food film producer, and benefactor. Chef Ranveer Brar is one of the most celebrated chefs in the country. He has set up restaurants in India, including a heritage hotel, Alayla Fort, Bishangar, and abroad, and curated the menu of many more, including cruise kitchens abroad Royal Caribbean. His popularity on television is matched by his tremendous fan following on social media as well. Getting the basics right and revering the kitchen is an artist would his her studio are mantras he lives by and propagates to others as well. He also pioneered the first even Twitter video show called Ranveer on the Road, covering new destinations each season and exploring their cuisines and cultures. For someone who propounds the theory of cuisine being an extension of culture, he strongly upholds the belief of travel making a good chef better. An avid photographer with a keen eye for details, his love of art flows into his food styling and photographs as well. With a bestseller in his kitty, a popular host and judge on television, and an artist both in and out of the kitchen, Chef Brar calls himself a food Sufi on constant culinary quest. So welcome Chef Brar, and Chef Brar is the brand ambassador and mentor of Techno India IHM under Sister Nivedita University. A great round of applause, please.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Ghosh. It's a pleasure being here. And should I go? Are we good? Perfect.
Perfect, sir. Perfect. The stage is all yours.
All right. So all of you, welcome. It is a pleasure talking to all of you. आप सबसे बात करके बड़ा अच्छा लगा. And I'm not going to take much time. I'm just going to run you through my story because I think that will help you make some decisions better. And I think I will also run you through what opportunities does this course provide for you in the future as an executive chef, or beyond. What does, if you are interested in food, where else can you take your life and your career with this course? All right. So I passed out of IHM Lucknow in 1999. I passed out at a time when there were only 40 odd hotels in the country. And now all I knew was, that there were limited choices. There were no freestanding restaurants, very few hotels. So the choices were very, very limited. And hence, you really didn't leave a chance when you got one, right? I got a chance, I picked it up, and I got a chance with the Taj Hotels in Delhi. And, like I say, it was good fortune that I worked with the Taj, moved on with the Oberois, and then I became an executive chef of a hotel at the age of 25. Good fortune, having good mentors, meeting good people. But till then, this was not heard of, to have that young as an executive chef running an entire hotel operation, actually opening a hotel all by themselves, wasn't really heard of. What I always felt was this profession had enough to give. All you needed to do was sort of believe in the profession. I believed in the profession. I believed in the education that I had behind me to take this profession forward. And at 25, I was doing what a lot of others were thinking of doing at 35 or doing at 40. The moral of the story is not about what I did. The moral of the story is the opportunity that it gave me that this education can give you at a time when there are hardly any opportunities available. You have 40 hotels in the country. What are the odds of Ranveer becoming an executive chef of 1 in 40? Today, you have more than 4,000 hotels. Today you have opportunities left, right, and center. So imagine what you can do today if you believe in the profession, if you believe in in what this profession can give you, right? All it takes is belief. Now, at the same point in time, I also want to say that today you also have my time. There were also only 20 hotel management colleges. Today you have 20 only in Salt Lake. So it is very different. Otherwise, also, I think it is very important for you to understand that while there is a lot of opportunity, there is also a lot of competition today, which means choosing the right institute becomes really, really important for you as the first step. Uh, and that is why I'm very particular about which institute do I suggest for you to pick up and start your career with. And I think that makes a big difference, and that is why I'm speaking to you here on behalf of SNU and TechnoHM. Now, what is very important for you to understand is what the industry has to offer, right? Now, for a lot of people who watched my YouTube videos, who watched a lot of my TV shows, who are inspired to cook, who enjoy the passion, they also have to understand that there's many years of working in the profession before you get onto this. There's many years of working, and this industry is an extremely intensive industry that demands a lot from you. But this industry is also a promising industry because it promises to give you back everything it demands in many fold. And I think that is the beauty of it. That I guarantee you that this industry is going to give it back to you many fold. All you got to do is believe in the industry and believe in the institute that you've sort of enrolled up for. What's also important to understand for all you guys is a basic law, and I always tell this to all hotel management students, is the most basic activity that we do is eating. So one of my chefs once told me, a German chef, Bernhard Kunig, he said, Ranveer, as long as people have breakfast, lunch, and dinner, don't have to worry. You will always have a job. And that's how it is. That's how it is with all you students. If you're worried about career, if you're worried about having a job, if job security is a priority, then that's the last thing you should worry about if you want to get into the profession of food, because people won't stop eating, right? And they will need somebody to cook it for them. And as long as you know how to cook, you don't have to worry about finding a job. Your worries have to be different, your worries have to be finding a good job or an even better job or the best job that you can find, and how to be the best in your job. And that's the kind of worries that you should have. At the beginning, I know you, all of you will have these questions. Times are tough. The industry is going through a tough time. Will we have a job? I'm sitting here telling you that as long as people will eat, you will have a job, and people won't stop eating. So don't worry about it. Don't worry about having a job. That part is sorted. Now, moving on to what else is expected from you, and what else should you expect. I think it's very important to understand the expectation of this industry is very simple. The industry expects you to keep unlearning and keep relearning. You're in a very dynamic industry. Food is a very dynamic business, and if you approach a situation with a know-it-all attitude, you sort of always get pleasantly surprised, because you always have to unlearn and relearn, and that's what the industry is about. And that also means how you approach the course when you enroll in technology. You cannot approach the course like how you approach education in the past. You have to unlearn the way you studied to be able to learn a culinary and hotel school. To be able to explain this to you better, up to now, your learning has been knowledge based, right? You've been given books, uh, and then you've been asked some question based on the books. You've answered them, and then based on the knowledge, you've scored high, scored very well, and so on and so forth. This education is not just knowledge based. This is skill based education. Cooking is a skill, right? And I often ask this question to all the students when I meet them: is that can you read a bicycle? Can you learn riding a bicycle by reading a book on how to ride a bicycle? If it's a 1,000-page book or a 500-page book or a 1,500-page book, you can never learn how to ride a bicycle just by reading a book. You have to ride a bicycle to learn to ride a bicycle, right? And that is the difference between the learning you've had so far and the learning you should expect in hotel schools. Cooking is about riding the bicycle. It is about skills. It is not just about knowledge. And what you have been exposed to is knowledge-based learning. So that is something that you will have to adjust to and come ready for it when you come here, right? And then once you learn a skill, what you do with it is it's entirely up to you. It's like cycling or swimming. Once you learn it, you never forget it for the rest of your life. And what you do with it is then up to you. If you learn swimming, you can go all the way up to the Olympics, win a gold medal. Maybe that becomes your goal. Or you can just swim in the evenings for leisure. That becomes your goal. But what's important is picking up the skill and then deciding what you want to do with it. And that skill can be picked up at Techno IHM, provided you are willing to unlearn how education worked for you in your schools and colleges. Education in hotel schools works differently because it's skill-based education, because you cannot just read and learn. And I think it's very, very important for all of us to understand that, accept that, and be ready to unlearn. Because once you get on that mode of unlearning and relearning, food industry is just that. There's so much that's happening every day. You got to continuously update yourself. You got to continuously make sure that you're learning. Whatever you have learned today is not going to be enough tomorrow. And that is what the business of food is about. It is about unlearning and relearning. So that has to start from the moment you enroll, from the moment you fill up that form for Techno IHM. You have to understand that when you get there, you'll have to unlearn and relearn, because this is not the education that you're used to so far. It is different, right? And once you sign up, then you're also signing up for a different sort of an education that you need to be ready for. And I always say this because a lot of times we come from the regular aspect of reading a book, answering questions from the book, and getting marks. That's not exactly how this industry works. And be ready for it, because that is the beauty of it, right? Also, what is really important for all of us to understand when we learn what being a chef is all about is that it's very foundation based. Cooking is a very foundation based activity, which means once you have a set of basics, and once you've mastered those set of basics, you build on top of that, right? Whether you are an executive chef, whether you are a sous chef, or whether you're just working for yourself, it's very important to understand that cooking is purely building on a set of basics that you picked up and mastered over a period of time. There is no other way to do it, and hence it's very important for you to pick up those basics and understand that A comes before B, B comes before C. And just because you know what a Z looks like doesn't mean you know the whole alphabet. It is very important. I always say, cooking is like reading a mystery, a murder mystery, right? You can just read the last page and see who committed the murder, or you can actually go through the whole book and enjoy it, and then get to the point wherein it's revealed to you, right? Just reading the last page and knowing who committed the murder does not mean you've read the book. And that is something that all of us need to understand when it comes to cooking. It is the process of learning that's very, very important if you want to be a chef. It is believing in the process of going through the whole book to find who committed that murder in the end that matters, and not just reading the last page and saying, okay, now I'm a master at it. Because you're at a time where people have access to information. You have access to a lot of recipes, you have access to a lot of images, you have access to a lot of books, you have access to a lot of recipe videos. Now, having access to them doesn't really mean anything, right? Getting there with due process is everything. And that is why I always say, don't jump the gun. Don't jump the gun. What is another part that I want to sort of leave you with is, in my 25 plus years of cooking, what I have realized is that as chefs, right, sometimes we get very stuck up with designations. Sometimes we feel we want to be an executive chef, or we want to be a corporate chef. It's important to have a designation for a goal, right? You start off as a commie, you become a demi-chef de partie, you become a chef de partie, you become a junior sous chef, executive chef, corporate chef, grandmaster chef, and however you want to take that. But keep those designations as goals. Don't make them motives of your life, because at any point in time, food is such a versatile business. You can go from anywhere to anywhere. I have chef friends of mine who are running food companies. They're chef friends of mine who are in Singapore running Nestle. They're chef friends of mine who are running food companies. They're running research and development departments of food companies. They are food flavorists. So while a culinary course in an IHM will train you to be a chef, and you can set your goal on being a certain chef, it doesn't necessarily mean that's all you have to be. It just means that this course is going to open many more windows for you to take forward in your career. All right. So on behalf of Techno IHM, on behalf of SNU, this is Ranveer Brar welcoming you all, asking you all to enroll for a beautiful life and not really stress about much. Be ready to unlearn. Be ready to pick up a lot. Be ready to look at the world with a different lens, and be ready for success. Thank you.
Great, Chef. Chef, as you know, nowadays, hotel management is called hospitality management because of the scopes and myriad of opportunities. So can you please explain about the job scopes after passing out from a hospitality management college? And apart from that, sir, I'd like to tell you what are the courses we are running for the audiences as well, because here we have some budding hospitality professionals and other budding chefs as well. So we are running in our college in Techno India IHM under System University various international courses like BA in International Hospitality and Hotel Management. We have BSc in Hospitality and Hotel Administration. We have BA in International Culinary Arts for bachelor degree programs. So the eligibility is 10+2, appeared or passed in any stream, science, arts, commerce, humanities, any stream. We do have a diploma course as well, diploma in hospitality and hotel operation, and the eligibility is 10 pass. So please, Chef, go ahead with this, the scopes and the arenas of the hospitality management.
So for all of you who are looking to get into hotel schools, what is important for you to understand is when we speak of the word hospitality, I don't know if Mr. Ghosh said hospitality. He didn't say hotels because, the scope of what you can do is way beyond hotels, right? Hotels are institutions. Hotels are are opportunities, but hospitality is an emotion. Hospitality is a value. And if you learn values, then you can go to any any institute, and take it forward. A lot of hotel students actually, from whatever my knowledge and statistics are, only 20% of hotel management hospitality students actually end up staying in hospitality. The rest move on to ancillary fields and make a good mark for themselves. So in the hospitality business, you could work with various you could work with various banks, you could work with airlines, you could work with various restaurants, you could work with various media houses. I think it's very important to pick up the values of hospitality, and take our education from there, and the whole world is open. An entire bunch of MNCs would look at only hospitality management graduates to start working with them, and they are not hotels, because they understand that during the course, values of hospitality are inculcated in the students. As far as being a culinary student goes, as far as BA in International Culinary Arts, if I got that right, if that bit goes, what you need to remember is, um, you don't need an institution anymore. Chefs are the quickest entrepreneurs in today's world. Whether it's home chefs or dark kitchens, the easiest business to set up by yourself is now the food business. Really don't need a lot. Um, Job opportunities, although are aplenty in restaurants, in food service outlets, in hotels, but it is the quickest way to entrepreneurship. The food business is the quickest way to entrepreneurship, and I think that is what you need to understand. That if you want to be in the food space, the opportunities are limitless.
Yes, we say sky is not the limit. There are myriad of opportunities in airlines, in flight catering, in railways, everywhere. So we have question answer session. So Wendrila, if you have questions, or the students, I think some students have given some questions as well.
Yes, we do have a list of questions. Actually, I'll start off with a question
Millions
by.
of questions are there. I said millions of questions are there for Chef Brar.
Um, I'll start off with a question like Professor Orpunde. Viewing the recent scenario of the world, what do you think, how much the hospitality industry will recover, and by what time, and what are the scopes of getting jobs in this crucial time, and any success mantra for the students to crack jobs at this point of time?
Well, I think if you look at all the industries, we cover the most basic need. And I always say, we were, after the first wave, we were the fastest to recover. After the second wave as well, we are going to be the fastest to recover. We are an industry that's based on human capital, that's based on the human spirit. It's a human industry. It's not a mechanized industry. It's very simple. You have a bunch of people, like-minded people, come together and serve a bunch of people. So it's humans for humans. And human spirit is something that the industry always has sort of worked with, and that is why it has always been the fastest industry to bounce back. It's going to be a quick bounce back. As far as the opportunities go, I always say, I think these are the times when you look uh, beyond the usual job opportunities to look at what the profession has to offer. I have a lot of friends who started their own caterings, their own kitchens, and they're doing much better than what they were doing when they were on a job. And I think it's very important for us to look at the fact that when we leave hospitality courses, we don't leave as employees, we leave as professionals. And once you are a professional, then being an employee is a small part of being a professional. You can pick the thread up from anywhere and make it for yourself.
Thank you. Yes, indeed, the fastest to bounce back. Um Another question, what are the precise skills and qualifications that you think is needed for a fresher to land a job in the hospitality industry's kitchen domain?
I think a fair understanding of the basics. It's very important for us to have a fair understanding of the basics by the time we're done with college. An open mind, an ability to unlearn. That's what I always say. It's very important for us to unlearn. It's very important for us to be able to say that the new place is going to have a new way of working, an attitude that allows us to unlearn, a very a good understanding of the basics, and a passion to deliver. These are the most basic traits that you need to succeed in the industry at any point in time, whether you're switching jobs or you're getting your first job. you know that's what I think.
The first that question was by Tonoya Day. Another question connected to that is how can we cope and establish something of our own in the domain of food and kitchen, given the current scenario?
There are two ways to do it. I always say it's a good idea to spend a year or a couple of years learning at somebody else's expense and then betting on yourself. But in today's times, you don't really have to bet too much on yourself. You can set up businesses at much lesser costs. Home kitchens are doing really, really well. You don't need to invest a lot into a home kitchen. You can just get into the business and start making money right away. Uh, what you need though is a basic understanding of how food finance works. What is food accounting? What is accounting in the food space? What does it look like? And that's what you get um, when you're in hotel schools. The most basic thing that you learn is food accounting and what a restaurant P&L or a food P&L should look like. I think once you have a basic idea of that and you have a good product, you have a product, or your food is something that people will order and reorder. Things automatically sort of fall in place. You don't need huge capital investments like you would have needed 80 lakhs, a crore and a half to set up a restaurant. Today, you can set up a home chef kitchen for 10,000 bucks. So you try small, fail small, and that is the advantage that only food entrepreneurship can give you.
Uh, Another question by, yes, I can see you, Panita De, Professor Panita De. In fact, she's from the Department of Hospitality and Tourism of SMU. With the fall in hotel booking due to the lockdown and much reduced travel outlook ahead, what is the future of the hospitality industry in terms of, what are the aberrations temporary, or will it continue in the long run?
So the aberrations are definitely temporary. I think there is a certain need, that was the most basic need that on which hospitality industry was built. That is the need to either travel or that is the need to connect, right? The human need to travel and connect will not go away. Maybe where we travel to and how we connect is going to change. You probably are not going to, for a bit, you're not going to travel internationally as much. You're not going to travel for long distances. The travels are going to become intra country more than inter country, which means when you travel, there's still going to be a need for somebody to serve you, somebody to attend to you. The opportunity is connected to the most basic human need of traveling and the most basic human need of connecting. And those basic human needs not going to go away. Somebody's going to have to service those needs. They're just going to look different. We are used to looking at those opportunities in a certain way. We just have to look at them differently. That's all.
Very profound words, Chef, definitely. Yes, actually, there's what Mr. Ghosh said. Lots of questions are pouring in. How would you describe your style of cooking? That is a question by Ronaka Chatterjee.
I think my style of cooking is very intuitive and memory driven. I will not cook something if I don't connect to it. If I haven't eaten it somewhere, or if somebody hasn't cooked it for me, or if I haven't eaten it a place where it's originally from, I would not cook it. I think it's very important to connect. So I always say my style of cooking is very intuitive cooking that one sort of connects to. But like I said, this is for students who are here. These are times when we these are places we get to after college. After 25 years of cooking, you can say I have a style. It takes time to get there, and it's important for everybody to enjoy that journey, and and discover that style with time rather than forcing a style on yourself. I think it's very, very important for all students to get it, that it's a journey and you got to enjoy it, and discover yourself and your style of.
Discover yourself and your style of cooking. That is really nice way to put it. Well, there's another question by Ranveer Mojumdar. Good evening, sir. This is Ranveer. Yes, I want to become a master chef like you one day. I watch all your videos in YouTube and mostly like the way you describe in details about the food and its background. I want to experiment doing something unique with food. This is which stream would be helpful if I pursued to pursue my dream job?
Sorry, which stream? I think it's very clear. If you really want to be a chef, then the stream is culinary arts. I think that sort of the answer is in the question. But to pick up a bigger thing here, I think it's not. What we often do is, we make ideals and we restrict our potential. You can be better than me. Don't try and be like me, because all of us have our own potential and our own destinies. And I think sometimes we over idolize and lose out on what we could really have become, which most of the times is much bigger than the person we're idolizing. So use me as an inspiration, not as an idol.
So you are an idol for lots of young students and enthusiasts. There's another question. Shumit Bhagat, actually very pertinent. His question is because of the pandemic. How can we learn our practicals through online mediums smoothly without having a physical practical classes? How can we train ourselves that well?
That's a very good question. Is he a student?
Yes.
Okay.
I think so.
So
yes.
This is for all of you. So you have to understand that that cooking is basically the application of heat or fire to an ingredient. All right. And then you give it fancy names, right? Then all the dishes get fancy names and they become subjects of your practical. All right. But basically, cooking is the application of heat or fire to an ingredient. If you say, I'm going to cook breakfast, lunch, and dinner at home every day, that is a good enough for a kitchen practical, because what you're understanding is how fire reacts to an ingredient. All right. The dish names will come. Don't worry about it. If you really want to say, I want to be good at kitchen practicals, then go back, tell your parents that I'm going to cook breakfast, lunch, and dinner for you till my college opens up. That's the best way to learn kitchen practicals, right? Fancy names and fancy dishes will happen as things go, but first understand what fire does to an ingredient. That's the first need of being a good chef, and that can happen with cooking the most basic shorshe bata, grinding the most basic shorshe bata, cooking the most complicated chana paturi. Okay, so understand that just cooking is good enough for now, but do it with intent and do it as a routine. Don't worry about the fancy names that you have in your books that you're not being able to cook. You'll get there, right? But don't miss an opportunity to stand in front of the fire and cook. Don't miss an opportunity, because that's eventually what cooking is. It's just the interaction of fire or heat with an ingredient. As long as you're in touch with that interaction, you're sorted.
Another question is, how important is the history of a recipe? Alok Ranjan Shahu.
I always say that our memory needs anchors to hold on to uh, a recipe. Sometimes that anchor can be placed where we ate it. Sometimes it is the history. So for me, history is a good anchor so that your memory can hold on to a recipe. It's a good way to connect to a recipe. Beyond that, you really can't take away anything from the history of a recipe. And it might be true, might be false, it might be a derivation. But it's an anchor. It's the way you connect to a recipe. Because once you connect to it, you will cook it with one more level of depth. And that's what matters.
Anisha Ghosh, sir, she's asking, how can we experiment with different ingredients and innovate new cuisines? What is the basic step when you're doing that?
The basic step is don't innovate. Where you are currently, it's very, very important to understand that you will get to the process of innovation. I'm pretty sure, Anisha, you are at a stage where you need to first learn the basics. Yeah, you need to get the dal bhat right, the khichdi right, to be able to eventually do a very complicated dish. Innovation comes with a little more deeper understanding of an ingredient. At this stage where you are, just learn the basics. Just learn the basics. After a point in time, the ingredients are going to start talking to you themselves, and you won't really need to tell me to tell you when you're ready to innovate. But you can't start with innovation. You have to start with repetition. You have to start with just doing the same thing over and over and over and over again. Innovation is exciting, repetition is boring. But the only way to get to innovation is through repetition. There is no other route.
Another question, Krishanjit. What inspired you the most in your journey to becoming a chef? How did this cooking, with your style of cooking, how did this come to you?
I think it is just see, when you decide to work with something becomes your medium. Okay, whether it is music, or whether it is dance, or whether it is painting. What excites you about that medium is how it excites everybody else. How your singing, or how singing as a medium affects so many people, right? How dancing as a medium, when you hear a song, how it affects so many people. Um, Cooking is another art form, and I was very fascinated at how it affected so many people, how it changed so many lives. The entire city of Lucknow, how it was affected by good food, how good food was such an important part of one person, a family, a community, an entire city, right? So I think once you realize that your medium can affect so many and so much, then you enjoy it more and connect with more.
Can we take a few more questions? Is that okay, Mr.
Sure,
Josh?
sure. Go for it.
Yeah. Okay. Another question from Orpon De is how much hygiene plays a part, especially in this scenario for food industry, and is how to develop a good palate for food. And personally, he's saying that he's still waiting for your Muradabadi biryani.
Yeah, the Muradabadi biryani is not going to happen because you know, a guy from Lucknow cannot do a Muradabadi biryani because that's not. Anyways, I think what is important. The second part of the question was, what does it take to develop a good palate? That's a very good question. It takes time to develop a good palate, and it also takes focus, and it also takes the ability to sit down and connect the dots. Right? It takes the ability to say, even if you're having a dal, you know, you have to have the time to sit down and think about when was the last time you had it. How is this different from that time? Which is the best dal you've had? Why was that the best dal? Right? And it's very important. And you to be able to appreciate food, you need to give it time. And that's the it can't be another thing on your bucket list. And if you don't appreciate food, you can't be a good chef. It's as simple as that. I always say that if you don't enjoy food, you can't enjoy cooking. And what is the first part of the question again, Anjana? It was about how to develop a good palate.
Good hygiene. Talks about hygiene.
So in anything that you do, I think hygiene is very important. But if you respect your profession, being a food person, you have to respect the fact that it is consumed by somebody. Any other art form it stimulates the senses, but actually the only art form that is consumed, that becomes a part of somebody, is food. And when you are responsible for consumption, for somebody eating what you're going to make, affecting their body, their health, then you have to be honest to your profession and make sure that it affects their health in a positive way. The most basic way to explain food hygiene is that it's your responsibility to ensure that whatever is being consumed, that is cooked by you, is going to positively impact the person consuming it in all mediums. It's going to make him happy and it's going to make him healthy, right? That's the most basic relationship of hygiene with food. If you cannot make people happy and healthy with your food, then there's no point cooking.
Baza Ali Mirza, how to understand and learn the science behind the recipe?
There are various ways to do it. At Techno IHM, you will be able to do it. It's a food science is a part of all courses across institutions. But I always say the most basic way to understand food science is to understand what heat does to various components of cuisine. That's it. Once you are able to understand that becomes your foundation. There are building blocks of everything. Food science has its building blocks. The most basic building block, I always say, is if you understand the reaction of acids with ingredients, if you understand the reaction of water with ingredients, and if you understand the reaction of heat with ingredients, 90% of the food science is sorted.
I think another question was from Shreya, basically. She's a student, I guess, and she's asking, when you search a recipe on the internet, there are a list of recipes that come up. So how do you choose between and take that particular when you're doing cooking individually? Can you give a preference to any particular pattern?
No, I think what she means is when she's looking for recipes to cook, she sees a bunch of recipes and then how does she decide which one to cook, right?
Yes, primarily.
Okay.
So, yes.
So the most basic solution is, it is a trial and error. a lot of times the way somebody speaks to you and the way he cooks makes you comfortable to be able to cook the same dish. And once you're comfortable, the recipe doesn't really matter. A lot of times, somebody is extremely precise, and the way they teach you is like science. That sometimes works. It is a matter of trial and error. But what I tell people is while it is your own journey to find that set of recipes that perfectly works for you, a good guide to finding a good recipe is to understand, is to see where it's coming from. If it's coming from somebody who's been cooking for a really long time, then there's a high probability to work.
Avijit Shaha, how can I know which is the right area for me? F&B services or housekeeping? What in terms of specialization?
You can only know when you do it, that's the only thing I say. If you're doing hospitality management, you have to come in with an open mind, give your first year, or even if you want to give it up to your industrial induction, to really decide what is it that appeals to you. It is all right. It's all right to decide much later, post the second year also, what is your area of specialization. I don't think you should come in with I don't think you should come in with a closed mind and saying, I only want to be a housekeeper or a front office manager or a F&B person, because the industry can surprise you. When you do your industrial training, it can really surprise you with what it throws at you. And you don't want to be in a state of shock, feeling lost, saying, oh, the only thing that I chose doesn't really work for me. Come in with an open mind, and take your time to decide. There is no hurry.
Shonali Devnath, she says she's a big fan, and she would love to know what is the favorite dish made by you. What is your favorite dish made by you?
I know, to eat or to cook. I think to eat, it is a khichdi. It is a good, simple khichdi or a dal bhat. To cook, I've trained under Antonio Carluccio, who's like the godfather of Italian cooking. And the way he explained that food to me, for me, cooking Italian food is very meditative. So if I have to cook, I cook Italian food. If I have to eat, I eat a simple khichdi.
Okay, lots of questions, asking you to share your experience, lifetime experience in one of your remarkable experience while cooking. Actually, there are many people asking this question.
I don't, I think probably the remarkablest experience is yet to come. But I think cooking for Vajpayee ji was a real honor. I really hold him in high esteem as an individual, as a poet, as a diplomat. Cooking for him was a real honor. But the most remarkable moments, I think, come when you cook for the family. Just to see them enjoy the fruits of their labor, because they put in as much time as you put in behind your success. So the most remarkable times, though, come in when you're cooking for them.
What is the questions aren't stopping, actually. There is just
we'll need to stop
an avalanche of questions right there.
Ma'am, I told you earlier as well.
Right.
Thousands of millions questions will be there.
One recurring question: what has been one of your most experimental dishes so far?
I used to do a short rib Rogan Josh in my time in the US. It sort of became a thing. We brought an entire short rib revolution in Boston. Nobody used to cook with short ribs till then. It was a short rib Rogan Josh that was served with sweet potatoes. That has worked really well. I think that I'd say that's been one of the more successful experimental dishes.
Okay, another question is, what is your most conducive environment when you're cooking? What type of environment would you prefer?
I think good music, and that's about it.
Okay.
Good music is important to all my kitchens, all my commercial kitchens also. I made sure there was music available to everybody. I think music puts you in the right headspace to cook. And rest everything, I mean, you need a fire and the ingredient and the person, everything else sort of falls in place.
What was your inspiration? This is also a repeat question. Many people. What was your inspiration? What is your inspiration in when you cook or in your journey of cooking amazing dishes?
No, I think it's just memories. It's the memory that you cook from makes all the difference. It's feeling good about cooking something that has been in your memory for a long time. That's what makes a difference.
Okay. So maybe last or before last question.
Second last.
Before
okay.
last, please
okay.
make it before last question.
Second last. Okay.
Before last.
Yeah. Right. Second last. I'll take that. Okay. So this is a must because this is also a very repeat question. So what do you think is a quality of a great chef? One qualities, not one. What do you think is?
I think the biggest quality of a great chef is perseverance. Is the ability to find a reason to not give up. I think it just becomes this industry is very demanding. This industry is very demanding, and sometimes giving up becomes very easy. And also because it's very repetitive. It's the same 100 kilos of onions that you have to peel every day for the next 30 days. So perseverance is very, very important. The most important quality of being a chef is perseverance. People say passion, this and that. What really gets tested in the first 5 years of your being a chef is perseverance. And if you have that, then everything falls into place.
Okay. The last question is, okay, this is also a repetitive question. In fact, I think it's profound. What kept you going during, your struggling time? What kept you going constantly to find yourself, to motivate yourself?
I think a lot of times you have to sort of have your back against the wall to realize that this is what you really want to do. I chose this profession when this profession wasn't the first choice. It wasn't the second, it wasn't the third, it wasn't the fourth choice. It was way down in the list. And when you choose that profession, it becomes your responsibility to deliver. After a point in time, your parents look at you and say, well, you chose it, now you deliver, right? And once you have your back against the wall, then it becomes much easier for you to perform because you don't have an option. So I always say, if you choose this profession, don't give yourself an option. Don't go into it with plan B, because otherwise you'll always be looking at plan B. Make sure it's you who's choosing that profession, and make sure you take that responsibility for the rest of your life that you chose this profession. So there's nobody to download that responsibility on, and nobody that you can sort of get away and say, I chose it because of you, so I'm not going to do it anymore. Once you choose it, you're responsible for it and you'll deliver.
Well, that was it. Unfortunately, questions are still pouring, and we have to stop somewhere. Or to all the participants, thank you so much.
Thank you. So we
Mr.
have
yeah.
So we have Chef Brar's Twitter handle and Facebook handle. So if you have any questions, definitely you can put it in his Twitter handle or Facebook handle. Definitely, Chef will try to answer these questions. Chef, with a great hope and aspirations that hospitality industry will bounce back very soon, and we will again join together. You will be coming in our campus, and the students will be getting top quality job after the completion of their course. So thank you very much, students. Thank you very much, parents. I've seen that a lot of kids are also watching our program. So thank you, students, and thank you, professors, viewers. Thank you very much from our end, and goodbye. Have a good night. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Chef.
Thank you.